Good morning, everybody, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Dries Van Vaerenbergh, and I welcome you to my SAP online track session about stop losing time maintaining i18n translation files. In this session, we will have a look on how we can create our own Node.js application to translate our projects. I have 20 minutes for this presentation, and that's why I created the following agenda. I divided this agenda in some different topics and subjects. And this is because actually those 20 minutes will be over before we know. So let's have a look at the agenda itself. What are we up to for today? Well, first of all, I will introduce myself in a brief introduction so you get to know the guy that is talking to you today. And second of all, we will have a look on what's under the hood. And we will have a look on what's under the hood of this Node.js application, the logic and the structure that applies to it. Once we understand this structure, we will actually set up everything and create an application that we can translate in our live demo afterwards. Once we checked out the live demo, we will wrap up everything and I will tell you where you can get some recap or where you can get some more cool information about it. Once that's done, we will check out the key takeaways so that this application can help you in the future to translate your projects. So, let's get started. And let's get started with who am I? Who is this guy? Well, my name is Dries Van Vaerenbergh and I am an SAP developer consultant at Flexo Digital. I actually love the SAP Cloud Platform, especially the Cloud Foundry environment, and I love to contribute to the SAP community. I am a football fan of Real Madrid and I have an Italian girlfriend, but my favorite country is Ireland. And as you can see, there are so many more things that I'm interested, but this is just a short and brief introduction. Alright, that's enough about me. Time to get started. So, what's under the hood of this Node.js application? Well, actually, there's only one single simple CSV structure. Like we all know, CSV files are structured based on columns and rows, and they do have delimiters. But let's have a look at this structure. As we can see, we have the app name. This holds the path to the directory the i18n.properties file came from. Next to it, you see the key, for example, the username. The default translation for this key is username, the English version. Now, we also extended it with the German language and the translation for username. So, what can we do here? We can actually extend this file with new languages to the right and downwards with new translations for different applications and for different translation keys. With this simple structure, we can actually create one single CSV file and import it afterwards to create all the translations for the different applications in our project. Now, we do need a way to run this Node application, and for this we have two simple npm scripts. The first one is the create CSV script. This takes one mandatory parameter as a path to the project. Once you run this command, it will create the CSV file for you. The second script is the create i18n script, which holds two parameters, one path to your translation file and the second path to the root path of your project. With this, it will create the i18n.properties files and places it in the right directories. Now that we all understand this structure and this logic applied in this application, and we know how to execute these scripts, we can actually start with it. And for that, we will be building a translation app in Node.js. And for this, we will be using the following editor, the code editor. The SAP Business Application Studio. So let's head over to it and just get started. So I am here in the SAP Business Application Studio, but since we do not have the time to create this application totally from scratch, I will just head over to my GitHub repository where you can actually clone the project from. I am here in my GitHub repository, and as you can see, you can just clone a project from here. Here is some small documentation and the links to the blogs I created about it. Now, just let us clone this repository. For this, I will go to the command line and I will say in my project workspace git clone, and I copy paste the link. As you can see, this was quite fast. Now, let's check out this project folder. As you can see here, we have the converter itself and we have a demo project to work with. But since we want to do it from scratch here, because I want to show it to you guys, we will just use this converter directory. So I drag it out to the workspace folder, and then I can delete this cloned repository. Now that I have my project ready, my Node.js application, I can actually start using it. But before we can use the translation Node app, we actually need a project. So let's create one. For this I will be using Yeoman with the easy UI5 generator. I want to keep the default name, also the namespace, and I actually want a Fiori launchpad on Cloud Foundry. I want to use the XML and I want to name it main view. I want to use SAP UI5 and I want to create a new directory for it. We can just display Fiori app as default and it will start generating our project. Now, while it's generating the project for us, we can have a look at the converter at the Node.js application. As you can see, we have our root folder and we do have an app directory as a subdirectory. Here we have the create CSV script and the create i18n one. These can be run because they are available in the package.json file. We see here that our project was generated and it is available right here. And by now my package.json file just opened and we can see that those scripts can be executed. Let me close this one. Now we do have our UI5 application, and for this I actually created a small backup file to place the content right into it. So let me copy paste these i18n translations and let me add them to the i18n folder and the i18n.properties. I will just override them for the default and for the English version. I save them, I close them, and next I will put some content in my XML view so we can display this data. We go to our main view in the web app folder and we place them between the content tags. Let me just put them a little bit better. Voila. And we save the file. Now, let us have a look on how this application will look now. For this we will navigate to our project and we will say npm install. It will first install the required packages and dependencies before we can run our application. This is done and now we will execute npm run start. It will serve our application on port 8080. We expose it and we say app. And we open the Fiori Launchpad sandbox.html file. This will open our Launchpad, where we will select the tile to navigate to our application. You can see our i18n translations have been applied to our application. We see the English version for username, first name, last name, and country. Now, let's use our Node.js application to translate these files so we also have a French language for it. Back to the application studio. Here our application is still running, but now we will actually create a CSV file out of our project. For that, we open a new terminal and we navigate to our CSV converter, our i18n CSV converter. As you can see, we have our root directory and our app actually itself is present in the app directory. So we navigate one step further and here we can actually execute our script. So we say npm run create CSV and then we will put the path to our project. Now, if you don't know the project, its directory, you can open a new terminal, you can navigate inside your project and you can ask for the permanent working directory. You can copy paste this and you can use it here for your npm run create CSV command. Now let's execute this command and we will see that our translation CSV file will be created. It's searching for all the files in our app project and it converted them into this CSV file. As you can see, we have our translations for our application. We have the key, we have the default translation, we have the English one, we have the directory to our path of the app, and we also have a translation for our portal site, because inside our application we have a portal. Under the launchpad, the portal site, we have an i18n directory and we have translation files. So let's extend this with a French translation. I prepared those translations already and I will copy them. I will paste them into our CSV file. I will override them because it's just the same. They only have been extended with the French language. And I save the file. Now, of course, the responsible people that want to do this will use a spreadsheet application to extend these files or to adjust them. Now, since this file is ready, we can actually put it back into our application. I will copy this line already so you see you can retrieve the path via the permanent working directory. And what we will do here is we will go back to our converter app and we will say that we have to create i18n files out of our translation file, which is located in the root directory of our workspace, and we want to create those i18n files in our UI5 project. So let's head up. As you can see, this was quite fast and we had success. So let's close this file and have a look at our project. When we look at this project, we will see that a French file for the portal site has been created with the correct translations from our CSV file. When we have a look at our web app folder, there should be a French translation file too. And as you can see, it is right there. It has some characters, some special characters escaped, and all the French translations are right there. So, what about our application? Let's head to our application, since it is still running on our port 8080. It's still there. Let me give it one refresh, and you guys will not see my URL, but what I will do is I will ask for the French translation via the following URL parameters. !SAP-language equals French. I will add this just after the .html. And as you can see, our translations have been applied with the French translations for it. We have them all right here in our form and our app has been translated just the way it should be. With this, we actually had a look on the structure and the logic of this Node.js application, and we had a live demo on how this application works and how it can translate your project. And, well, everybody knows how it feels when a live demo worked during a presentation. Now, enough about the feelings of a live demo, and let's have a look on where you can get some recap blogs and more. Back then, in December 2019, I created my first blog post on how this logic and how this structure will be applied in the Node.js application. On top of this, I created a second blog with actually the explanation of the technical code behind this Node.js application. And of course, I shared this GitHub repository, and it's out there and it's available, so please feel free to use it so it can help you maintaining your i18n translation files. But I was not the only one that has been playing around with i18n translations. We also have this amazing extension of Pense for VS Code. It will help you to find out which translations you are missing inside your application. So it's really cool, it's really handy, so you should use it to help you during your project. Awesome extension, Fatih, thanks for that. This brings me to the final part of my presentation, to the key takeaways. So, what are your key takeaways from this session? Well, let us have a look at it. 3 important things: time, developer, customer. I think those are actually self-explaining, because time. You have time for that coffee that you deserve. Now, why do you have time? Because you don't have to search for untranslated i18n text. This thanks to the plugin of Fatih, of his extension, in the Visual Code Editor. Plus, you have that single CSV file for your customer, so they can actually understand what you're doing. They don't have to look at code, they just can translate it in the CSV file, provide you the file back, and you can just import it back into your project. And with this, actually everybody has time again, because everybody understands each other, and everybody's happy, and everyone has his mind at rest, which will make everything better during your development process. And with this, guys, I actually want to thank you for joining my presentation. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope it can help you in the future maintaining your translation files. If you have more questions, you can always reach out to me on the SAP community or via my email or on Twitter. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.